Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone and rule well. Blessings and salutations be to the hopeful elect. Noise in his gospel rod, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. And if this offend anybody, then you know what? Oh, well. Because this is not to be meant to be offensive, but this is and this is the spirit. I was actually getting ready to go into this lesson, going into the whole concept of rude speech and how the men of the Lord use plain speech. And the spirit had it that actually one of the elder brothers, Yakia, he actually just went into this lesson, and that's the spirit, because I was actually just meditating on this. I was watching the apostles, and I had a couple lessons in mind. And then the spirit just go into rude speech, because, the last couple of shows I put out, was pretty raw, and you got to bring the balance to it sometimes. And my shows are pretty raw, straightforward, because it's no play in it. It's just what it is, and oftentimes, when we come in that spirit of rebuke or to get our people to see the message, sometimes you have to be real harsh with them, because Jake is hard-headed, But it's a balance to it, and, it is what it is. Can I teach a lesson without using so-called obscene language? Of course, yeah, I can. It's not hard. It's just you become accustomed to it, and they say a person that's quote-unquote swears a lot usually tells the truth. Then again, it could be a stumbling block to certain people, but if it's a stumbling block to you, then, you need to take that up with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, because there's no scripture in the Bible that says you can't use rude speech. Okay, oftentimes people get cursing, or when the Bible goes into cursing and things that come out, like the scripture says, not what goes into the mouth comes out that defileth the man, but what's within. And also when the scripture said that his mouth was full of bitterness and cursing, people think that that's saying F or fuck you, bitch, motherfucker, damn, shit, hell. That's just called rude speech and new speak. Okay, and when you look up the term new speak, and we're going to get it, but basically, new speak is just basically changing the meaning of words when they possibly meant something else, or when they took a meaning of a word and they use certain euphemisms to make it appear less degrading or more degrading or whatever. Like, prime example, instead of calling a woman a hoe or a bitch, you may say a garden tool, or you may say a female dog or something like that. But it has the same meaning to it. And the problem here in America, and mainly in the West, is that people are too emotional. But yet they put graphic nonsense on the TV all day. You got pornography for free. You got OnlyFans. You got women being, whores, and men being pimps. And you got all types of murder out here. It's horror movies. And yet people get offended at obscene language. Because I admit that obscenities can cause strife and contention, because people are emotional. And this is why the scriptures do say that a soft answer turn away wrath, So you got to know when to use it and when not to use it. Is it always expedient to use foul language? No, it's not. Like, you're not going to go into a job interview saying F you, MF, or this and this and that. No, it's not expedient. Is it a sin in it? No, there's not a sin. Okay, but it's a time and place to do it, So what you see on the screen here is a lot of F-bombs, and everybody in America is familiar with this word. Hey, F you. And I had this just pulled up because it's just an example of what they would consider obscenities. Because one thing about the Hebrew Israelites, mainly those of Great Mill, us and GMS, they think we just a bunch of obscene individuals. We sit on the corner and insult people all day and talk stuff. And, we're just these mean, arrogant, prideful, unbearable men, angry men. And this is how people look at us. At least some of us, But that's far from the case, and we're very sincere in what we do. At least I'm speaking for the men that I know personally. Okay, so this is the definition of newspeak. Okay, so I typed in newspeak meaning, and it means newspeak is a term coined by George Orwell, the great orator, right? It says in his 1949 novel 1984, to describe a type of propagandistic language that is often used to serve for a political or ideological cause, right? Now you got this guy, Adolf Sugarbuber, right? And I'm not gonna say his adopted I mean, I'm not gonna say his adopted last name, whatever you want to call it, his known last name. But Adolf Sugarbuber, he was known to be one of the most tyrannical men in history, but yet he never used an obscene word. Okay, so do obscenity makes you evil? No, of course not. Just words, play on words. Okay, but this guy, Adolf Sugarbuber, he was responsible, according to their history, of killing or exterminating 6 million small hats, which we know that's not the case. Clearly not true. That's not history. And that thing was propagated even before Israel became a what you considered a welfare state. Anyway, but using him as an example, he was known as one of the most tyrannical men in history. Okay, banning assault weapons, internment camps, torchings, all types of stuff, man, you know. But yet, he never used obscene language. Okay, because his whole purpose was for political reasoning only. So when you come to this new woke movement, right, like being the Mo, that's profane, okay, because you have a difference between curse, which cuss is just something made up. You got cuss, curse, and profane, right? Profane means to be outside of the temple or outside of the wisdom and knowledge and the grace and love of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Like you have a lot of Israelites that's profane. Okay, like this political movement, Nambla, using that as an example. That is considered a profane movement because the Lord is clearly not dealing with it and it's full of soy boy energy, if you know what I mean. But yet, that's the most propagated thing going for modern day people now, is to give your kids over to these particular political movements to play on their minds so they can totally degenerate, you know, so they can totally become degenerates. But nobody's talking. I mean, people are speaking out about it, but nobody's really on an up and up or uproar about that. But that's way worse than saying shit, damn, piss, all that. So the hypocrisy, right? But that is for a political cause, okay? But it says a propagandic language that is often used to serve as political or ideological cause. It is characterized by euphemisms, which, look up euphemism, right? You can look that up. And I mean, basically it's a word that they use to downplay other words, right? So when you look up euphemism, it says a polite term, right? A polite term, a substitute, a mild alternative, indirect term, understatement, underplaying, softening, politeness. So right now we have a bunch of euphemisms that's being labeled in these political movements and even this society itself. Okay, it's based on you know, it's just a lot of soy boy energy. Okay, instead of saying shit, I could say stuff or crap. Okay, that's a euphemism right here. Instead of saying the B word, or instead of saying bitch, I can just say B. You know. Or instead of calling you fat and morbidly obese, I can just say you're big bone or you heavy set. Okay? Anything to take these quote unquote offense away from these fucking people. All right. Anyway, so another definition here. It says a mild or indirect word or expression substituted for one considered to be too harsh. And the thing, the men of the Lord, we're too harsh for this kingdom. You know, we're too intense. Like we're very intense. You know, and it says here, harsh substitute for one considered to be too harsh or blunt when referring to something unpleasant or embarrassing. The opposite of a dysphonism is a euphemism. Okay, so that's the definition of euphemisms if you didn't understand what it means. And the prophets use rude speech all the time. Okay, Yahushua used it. The prophets used it. John the Baptist used it. Okay, all the men of the Lord in some form or fashion, Paul, use words because it's just nothing but words, man. Okay, you got to understand that these men were human. They had emotions. They had human emotions. They had feelings. They went through bouts of depression, bouts of anger. You know, even Yahushua got pissed off in upbraided cities. And when you look up upbraid cities, matter of fact, we'll get that and I'll look up the word upbraid. But it wasn't a pleasant thing. It wasn't a nice political speech that they teach in these churches, man. Okay, but it says a circumlocution in the inversion of customary meanings. For example, increased taxation may be referred to a revenue enchantment, which enchantment is basically a curse. Newspeak is often used by politicians and government officials to intentionally confuse or deceive people by not meaning what it seems to mean, which that's profane because that's a blatant lie, okay? And witchcraft, that's a curse. Do speak is basically, that can be a curse. Because when you're using certain things to propagate a lie and you're trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, that's deception, man. Okay, witchcraft. It says it can also be deliberately ambiguous and contradictory to mislead and manipulate the public. So if I say the word bitch, people gonna be like, oh my God, he just said the word bitch. But I can just be referring to my female dog right here. And I'm not talking about my woman. I'm talking about the female, the actual dog, the canine, the bark. But you say that word, people want to fight you for it. But yet women using on each other all damn day. Okay? So it's all confusion. That's why this devil got to pay. But let's read that again. It says here, intentionally to confuse or deceive people by not meaning what it seemed to mean. It can also be deliberately ambiguous and contradictory to mislead and manipulate the public. So, like, one great orator was this guy, Barack Obama, all right? He said a whole lot of nothing. Well, it sounded like he was saying something, but at the same time, he was pulling the wool over the people's eyes, and he allowed one of the most profane agendas to be promoted in his term. Okay, they had what they call don't ask, don't tell. Now look at the military. Totally sad. Sorry, man. Okay, 77% of people can't even qualify to go to the military because they're not physically or mentally equipped. So you see the type of damage that's done. And because of that, America lacks a formidable fighting force now. All because of some woke political euphemisms. So what's worse, us saying a certain word or actual political movements that's being drawn by these deceptions? Okay. So anyway, Zondervan's Bible Dictionary, and I'm gonna get the scriptures. I just want to bring these things out because I tend to be overly detailed at times, and I like to get it all out there. That way we ain't leaving one stone unturned. But this is the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary, and I looked up here. It says curse. It says the reverse to bless, or on the human level, to wish harm or a catastrophe. So if I say shalak rayam wa anashim wa bayam wa ragim wa mashapatnyu, basically I'm just asking the Lord to bring judgment and death upon you, right? That's a curse. Now, is that wicked? No, it's not wicked, because the man of the Lord did put curses on people for the right reasons. Now, if you cursing brothers just because they piss you off, or a brother may have stepped on your shoe and you try to put a curse of the Heavenly Father on him, then that's evil. That's wickedness, man. And you don't do that. But to put a curse on Babylon and Esau and 2/3 of our people, that's completely fine, because, hey, even Yahushua cursed the fig tree. You see? But that's what it means to curse. So when the Bible goes into cursing, that goes into wishing harm on somebody. Okay? Even when Peter was cursing and swearing, basically he was using obscene language, and he was actually saying curses, man. Okay? But it says here, to wish harm or catastrophe on the divine, implying judgment. The cursing one's parents is sternly prohibited by Mosaic regulations, but Yahushua commanded the people who would be his disciples to bless. Okay? It says to not curse, but Yahushua cursed the fig tree. Yahushua said, if any man come with another gospel, let him be accursed. And you go into the word accursed, it goes into basically wishing harm on somebody. So it's not that Yahushua was against it, but at the time, you got to understand, when Yahushua was going to wake up certain members of the elect at that time, we was to teach and to wake them up. But hey, the men of the Lord curse people all the time. Okay, look at the account of Elisha when he called the curse on them 40 on them little nigglets, man. But anyway, it says when Peter at Yahushua's trial denied that he knew him, he invited a curse upon himself, which is Matthew 26:74. And this passage is often misunderstood by Western readers, but Paul represents the curse of the law borne by the curse upon the cross, which the believers in Galatians 3:31, the modern Western practice of cursing using profane language, is never referred to in the scriptures. Okay, so this is the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. So there's no condemnation for saying MFA. Okay, oftentimes us as men, we say things in our zeal. When we out in the street speaking, we in a war mindset, and when you at war, your mindset is in a different place versus when you're in your house and you sitting down and doing lessons. Whether you are reproving, rebuking, or actually going into prophetic scriptures and teaching, it's a time and place for it all. And if you notice, through the different lessons we bring out, we have certain mannerisms. Like when I'm on the streets personally, I'm in war mode. So, we in war mode. That's the mentality I'm in. When I'm sitting at home and I'm doing lessons, going into prophecy, then, it's more straightforward. All right, we're going to go and hear this word, that word, that word. Or if it's in rebuke mode, then you may hear a couple of obscene words that you don't want to hear, that you don't really care to hear. And I say that if you don't like it, then unsubscribe. But even that's offensive. Why would you tell me to unsubscribe to your channel? Because you using cuss words. Well, if you don't want to hear what we have to say, then why would you torture yourself and be a nuisance to us and listen to the video? It's just that simple, man. Okay? Though there is balance to it. Every lesson ain't going to be hell, SHIT, DAMN, alpha, BIT. It ain't going to be every lesson. But you may get a couple of those words in a lot of lessons because we just teach through the Spirit. And we men over here, okay? So it's just what it is. So this is the book of 1 Corinthians 2, and I'm going to start at 1. And it says, and I, brethren, when I came to you, it says, when I came to you, came not with the excellent of speech of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of the Most High, right? He said he didn't come to you with excellent of speech. He didn't come to you sounding like the great orator. Okay, like you got a lot of these Israelites out here. They how can I say it? They applaud themselves of being men of great knowledge and skill by the way that they have pristine words, man. Just be like Bishop Nate. Like, they don't really use so-called foul language, and they do sometimes, but in their teachings, they are more PC and politically correct, but they're feeding you a well-generated lie. So who would you rather listen to? Would you rather listen to a bunch of men that's going to tell you the truth, or a bunch of men that's going to sound cute and lie to you and get you jacked up? See, you got to understand how to discern through the Spirit on who you're listening to. Okay, all that pretty stuff and them flashy garments, that don't mean a damn thing, man. Okay, but it says here, and I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling, and my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom. Yeah. And when you look up to entice somebody, that means that you're looking to get over them. You're looking to woo them over. So when you have flashy garments on and you saying big phrases and it sounds good, it's like a whole lot of nothing while saying, it's like saying a whole lot of something and you ain't saying nothing. And then you win people over with that. But this ain't what this is about. Okay, we ain't winning you over because we look good or sound good. No. But there is a balance. If we speaking to people that may be like on some type of pristine level, then we will meet them there. Because believe it or not, brothers are pretty intelligent and we can teach on different levels. But you got to understand, we're dealing with the lower class people. Okay, we're dealing with gremlins, goblins, ghouls, wenches, niggas, whores, sluts, baby mamas. Okay, scholars, wannabe scholars, false prophets. So you're going to get the nitty gritty of it all, But it reads, it says, and my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and the power, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of the Most High, man. So it's the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai that opens up your mind to this thing to receive it. Because when I came in, the apostles they was rough as hell. I came in when they was like on one. I came in, 2011? So that's when it was real rough. But I understood why I had to be that rough. Because, this was a time that Jake was just outwardly rebellious. And they're still rebellious, man. All right, so let's get another precept real quick. And like I said, this ain't going to be a long lesson. But this is the book of Isaiah 20. Matter of fact, I'm going to come back here. This is the book of Mark 14. And I'm going to start at verses... Matter of fact, let's start at 66. It goes into Peter's denials. And it says, and as Peter was beneath in the palace, there cometh one of the maids and the high priest. And when he saw Peter warming himself, she looked upon him and said, and thou art also with Yahweh Shai of Nazareth. But he denied, saying, I know not, neither understand I what thou sayest. And he went into the porch, and the cock crew. So basically, he denied the Lord. And it says, and the maid saw him again and began to say unto them that stood by, this is one of them. And he denied it again. It's like you could pick him out of a lineup because you understood by his mannerisms, okay, by his spirit, that he was with Yahweh Shai. And we could get that as well in Acts. Okay, just like when you look at different camps, you could kind of tell who's who. Everybody kind of got a stigma on them. Like IUIC going to come with a whole polished thing with the whole pretty flashy garments. Sakari going to come with the fitted hats. You know, Johanna and them may come with the black on. You know, Zabak and them may come with the armbands and all that other stuff on. And GMS, we gonna come with the rough garments, and you can tell by the way we speak. We just sound like regular dudes, man. You know, if like, I'll put it to you this way, like our spirits are like, people would know something is different. Like, yeah, these men are very spiritual, but we know how to delegate and blend in among all people, man. You know, people won't just be able to label us of, oh yeah, we know these guys are Hebrew Israelites because such and such, such and such. Nah, man, we know how to blend in with our environment, but we know how to adapt to the situations we in. You know, but when you hear GMS men talk, you're gonna get some men that come from the hood, from the dark parts of Babylon. You're gonna get some men that come from college. You're gonna get some men that come from the business world. You're gonna get all walks of life in this thing, man. Street guys, all types of things, man. And whatever you get is just what you get. You know? So off rip, when we get into teaching the Bible and we among different people, it's like, yeah, they were great millstone. You could just tell by their mannerisms, by the way they speak, how they speak, their verbiage, and you know, their particular euphemisms they use. You can tell, like, yeah, this is GMS brother right here. You know, and oftentimes by the garment we wear, because you know they call us bumalites. We're bums, but yeah, brothers in Great Millstone got businesses, they got homes, families, vehicles. You know, brothers ain't living like some underbridge derelicts, man. Brothers have substance. You know what I'm saying? Brother could pull a dollar or two out of his bank account if he needed to. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't like you dudes, all trying to be flashy and stuff. You know, even though, you know, brothers have their own particular way of dressing and stuff like that. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about as far as like the garments and everything. You know, Nate got them flashy ass garments. We don't spend $300 on a garment. No, for what? Because that ain't gonna make you righteous. You know, but other than that, brothers have nice things out here. Me personally, shit, you know, I like fashion. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to start my own clothing line. So, you know, that just something that, you know, I've been into, and just the environment we come up in, and just certain things you gravitate to. You know, any brother that know me would tell you that. But anyway, verses 69, and it says, and the maid saw him again and began to say to them that stood by, this is one of them, and he denied it again. And a little after, they that stood by, it says, stood by and said again to Peter, surely thou art one of them. Thou art Galilean, and thy speech agreed thereto. So they knew. He was like, yeah, you with them dudes, man. We know you, bro. Look how you talk. You know? so it wasn't no denying it. And that's what pissed him off. He got aggravated. And it says, but he began to curse and to swear, saying, I know not this man whom ye speak. Okay? Because he got aggravated. Because really they called him out. They was like, yo, speech. We know how you talk, man. Okay, now let's go into the word speech. Because you'd be surprised on what these words reveal to you. When you look up the words that you think have no real deep meaning to it, even though speech goes into like verbiage and things like that. Let's see what it says here. Speech, story, dialect. Mode of speech, pronunciation. Speech which discloses the speaker's native country. Okay, it could have been by accent, the words he used. You know, like a term that niggas use in Chicago on phoneme. You ain't gonna understand what that means unless you from Chicago. I can't go to California and say on phoneme. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Or on BD. Or you know what I'm saying? Or on chief. You know what I'm saying? Or they ain't gonna understand what a car means. Or hell, you know, that's Chicago type slang type term. Like people out here say going to the ice box, we say the refrigerator. You know, y'all call the washroom the restroom. We call it the washroom. And I was like, hey, it's in the washroom. They're like, what you talking about, the laundry room? I said, no, the washroom. The washroom is where you go, you know, you wash your body at. You know, that's how we talk. So somebody like, oh yeah, he's from Chicago. Or better yet, on a minute level, or on a different level. That's a minute level. But in the truth level, you know how you listen to the elders and apostles because you start to adopt the way they say things. Like, you know, a lot of times brothers say that because you hear it so much. Or right, or okay. That's how you know that somebody watches Great Millstone, because those particular words, that's speech. You see? So that's how they was able to call Peter out. And he got mad at it, man. And it's funny because you can relate to it. And no way hell I could be able to blend among IUIC. I'll put on a IUIC garment and go join the camp I'm bringing out scriptures only GMS bring out. I'm like, wait a minute, man, nigga, you belong. What are you doing here? They have to reprogram or retrain your mind to think like them. I'm like, nah, bruh. But it says he began to curse and to swear. Now, when you go into this word curse, right? Now, I'm okay. When you go into this word curse, right? It says to devote to destruction, to declare oneself liable to the severest divine penalty. So basically, he had to throw some profanity in there. But he was saying like, I promise you, this ain't it. I mean, he had to be going off because he was aggravated. And then when you go into swear just meaning like an oath. Okay, so let's go from here to the book of Acts real quick. Acts, I think it's Acts 4 and 13. And it reads, it says, now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, they perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men. They marveled and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Yahushua. Okay, why was that? Because for one thing, the men that was with Yahushua, the 12, they wasn't considered learned among the Sanhedrin, the councils of elders and the scribes and Pharisees and the wicked high priests and the scribes and the Pharisees. We wasn't considered learned among them because those men actually went to particular, they had their own particular institutions set up to learn the law and things like that. You had particular men that were scholars in the law, like Gamaliel. He was an actual Pharisee. Okay, he was a doctor of the law. Okay, James, Peter, John, these men didn't necessarily go to these particular institutions. It wasn't like a university, but they had their own concepts of schools then, learning under the particular priests and the temple and the order and everything like that. They had their own particular institutions then. And Peter, James, and John just knew the language of the fault, and they understood the law, statutes, and commandments because it was a custom of the Israelites, man. Okay, but even then, the Hebrew that they spoke, it probably wasn't as erratic as some of those wicked scribes and Pharisees, man. The Hebrew was probably a little broken. It had a little slang to it, especially if you come from Nazareth, because even they said, what good thing could come out of Nazareth, which Nazareth was basically like the hood. So you can tell a guy that grew up in Country Club Hills in Chicago back in the 80s versus somebody that grew up on 52nd and May or 52nd and Bishop or 51st and State Street, and anybody that's from Chicago would know what I'm speaking of. They call that shit down there the hole. So you would know the difference between a Hazel Crest ninja and a ninja that grew up on 62nd and Calumet. It's like, you ain't from out here, bro. So that's how it is. All right. But it says, behold, it says, when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, they perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, and they marveled, and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Yahushua. So they knew, like, wait a minute, these men are, nah, bro, these men are, they're rude, they're abrupt. Okay. Isaiah 29 and 21, it says that make a man an offender for a word and lay a snare for him that reproved it in the gate and turn aside a just thing for a thing of no. Yeah, I mean, these, bro, you'll be turned away just because you say a so-called cuss word, man. A cuss word. But yet, out of all the profanity that's going on in the life of these demons out here, that gets surpassed. Okay, I remember it was one video, and this one guy, man, we rebuked Akeisha harshly, man, because she was being a demon, and we rebuked her. Do you know that this guy watched the whole video just to see if we was gonna curse somebody out? And then when he found it, bro, the video was probably the video was probably like an hour, 120 minutes. 120 minutes precisely is 2 hours. I think we may have went to like 123, something like that. And we rebuked her like at the last minute. This dude watched the whole 2 hour camp just to complain at the last minute that we cussed the lady out, man, and made a whole big rant about it. Then all of a sudden it came out, oh, that guy is not a man of the Lord. He definitely ain't a man of the Lord. Like I said, it's bittersweet with us. People hate us, and then people, they vibe with us, man. Oh, he's definitely not a man of the Lord. Saying that guy ain't a man of the Lord. He's this and that and that. Look, we don't care how you feel about us. We don't care. I don't have to be a man of the Lord in you people's eyes. But guess what? That ain't your call. Especially when you ain't doing nothing for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. What are you doing? Are you waking up the hopeful elect? Are you making your body a living sacrifice? Are you making like calling your calling and election sure? Are you studying to show yourself approved? Are you fasting? Are you praying every day? Huh? Are you dealing with the brothers, entertaining, giving wise counsel? Are you being charitable? Are you helping brothers out when they need it? Or you just sitting back critiquing something that you have no business dealing in? And that's the problem with our people. Jake is a bunch of hypocrites, man. And that's the spirit. Elder Yaki is going into the same thing. Somebody got mad, I guess, because a brother was probably using cuss words or something, and they basically try to downplay the brothers being a man of the Lord, because whoever was using the obscene language, they didn't like it. That ain't godly like. Man, whatever, man. You got different spirits in this thing, man. Certain brothers are more like the scriptures say. You got to be just as right or just as loving to the forward and to the forward as well as the gentle. You got certain brothers that are forward. Certain brothers are more laid back and gentle. I just so happen to be a forward brother most of the time. I could be gentle, but the spirit just had me since I'm a head of a camp, and I have to lead men. I have to be a little bit more forward, especially being in this city full of slow bellies and reprobates. You just kind of get aggravated. Coming from a whole different city like Chicago, coming here to a new environment, it can be quite devastating, man. It has its PTSD moments. It's very stressful, But we do what we got to do because that's what the Most High called us to do. All right, a couple more precepts here. Let's go from here to the book of Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 11:6. And it reads, it says, but though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge. Wait a minute. Rude speech. So you can't think just because you're reading words and it don't say F, you, hell, damn, MF for this and this and that. You don't know what these men were saying outside of these epistles being wrote and what was said. You don't think you had scuffles and fights and rebuking, all types of stuff. Remember, the Bible gives us a outline consensus as to what happened, but what happened took place. It was way more thorough than what we're reading, but you're not going to put down every detail that happened in these men's lives, man. But they give you a good knowledge and a good understanding as to what went down. But even when you read in the Gospels, there's hip talk. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hold fast. How should I say hold fast? Only Jake say that. Hold fast to which thou hast. Hold fast. We always say that through the Spirit. Hold fast, bro. Yeah, I wish I said that. So when you read in the Bible, there's all types of rude language in here. Like I was looking up something years ago. As a matter of fact, I was looking up some things. I don't know what it was. It was back in 2017. And this one guy, and he had it on point. I don't even think he was an Israelite. He may have been like a Christian, or he just made, how you got some of them smart Edomites, they just kind of know things and they just good in history and they can analyze Bible characters, because it was a big controversy about how men dealt and how their mannerisms were. And basically, long story short, this guy came out and said it. He said, look, if John the Baptist was walking the earth today, he would be considered derogatory and obscene because the language he used. He said that language that he spoke then, called him a generation of vipers, he said that would be translated to a bunch of punk MFers, PUSS, IES, FUs, BIT. Bro, he said it. He said, yeah, he would be considered one that would be very harsh. Come on, man. This man, his ministry took place in the wilderness. Okay, he was dealing with a bunch of wicked jakes. Okay, he had he ate wild locusts and honey, and he was girded about the paps with a leather girdle. Rough man. Okay, and he was a Levite on top of that. So you think he was going to be with that jolly, jolly Merry Christmas spirit? No, he was not. All right. But anyway, though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things. So though we rude, are we lying to you? Are we giving you the whole 100% truth? And people get offended at that. I ain't got the 100% truth. Look, we got the 100% truth as to what we need to get salvation and as to what Yahweh Shai revealed in these scriptures. We know all the scriptures. That's what we mean. How many planets it is? Look, I don't know. Well, you ain't got the 100% truth. That's not true. You got to put things in context, Jake. We didn't say we know everything, but everything that's written, we understand it. That's 100% truth. Anyway, it says, when we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things, but have I committed an offense in abasing myself that ye may be exalted? and because I may have preached to you the gospel of the Most High freely. And what he mean by abasing himself was meaning that it wasn't mean that he was like bowing down or putting himself down. When he mean by abasing himself, meaning that at times he could have been out of character. At times it may seem like, damn, like he's completely out of character. Like, what the hell? Because Apostle Paul was a learned man. He understood the law to the letter. Okay, he learned under Gamaliel, which was a top Pharisee. Okay, and you got to understand, a scribe is a person that writes or scribes something or writes something. A Pharisee is an office in Israel. He learned under the top dudes, man. So for him to act a certain way, that's considered for him to abase himself, man. Okay. Matter of fact, let me do. I'm thinking about debase, abase. Let me change. Let me get that right. Yeah, to make low, right? Abase, right? Abase. Because when you think of base, you think of like mid or low level. So it says to make low, to bring low, to level, to reduce to plain. We're just plain men. Okay, we're just plain men that understand the scriptures and we teach. Okay, we wake up, we piss, we do the number two. Brothers get sick sometime. Hey, brothers get headaches. Sometimes you feel like being bothered. Shit, hey, we eat chicken wings. Hey, we watch TV, some play basketball, lift weights, stub our big toes. Our cars break down. Our women are demons. We just regular men. That's what Yahweh Shai say when they to see what was it, John the Baptist. He said, "What did you expect to see? A reed shaking in the wind?" But he said, "Yeah, I tell you, a prophet and even greater than that." Because he said, "Those that are in soft raiment are in kings' houses." So when you see us, you ain't gonna see some great erotic figure. You ain't gonna see us flying around and floating in the garments in the wind and the lined up beards and the crispy. We ain't gonna have all that, man. It ain't gonna look like that. That ain't what this thing is about. But it says to bring to humble condition, to reduce to meaner circumstances. Ooh, to assist in lower rank or place, to abase, to be ranked below others who are honored and rewarded, to humble, abase myself by humble living, to lower, depress one's soul, bring down pride, modest opinion, behave in an unassuming manner. That's it. Devoid of all haughtiness, but behave in an unassuming manner. So he came off rough to him at times. He had to. And this was the church of Corinth. This was probably one of the most wickedest churches there was. And this is why he had 2 books written to them, 2 epistles written to them, because the church of Corinth was by far the most rebellious, if you do the history. Okay, it says, I committed an offense in abasing myself that ye may be exalted, because I have preached unto you the gospel of Yahweh freely. And this is what we do. We preach freely, man. Okay, we don't come with all that nonsense that these churches come with to try to win you over for some money. This ain't what this is about. All right. So this is the book of Matthew 11, and I'm gonna start at verses 18. It says, "For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he have a devil. But the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Behold, a glutton and a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of our children." So whether you come in a so-called righteous spirit or you come in a so-called obese spirit, Jake gonna have a problem with you anyway. Like if we use or taught lessons without using any particular obscenities, I guarantee you Jake will find a problem with it. Oh, y'all think y'all too good. Who y'all think? It will always be a problem. You cannot never win with Israel. You can't win with Jake, man. All right. But it says, then he began to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. Now let's look up the word upbraid. All right. Upbraid goes into, what is that? On indizio, right? And it means to reproach. And when you reproach somebody or revile them, that doesn't mean be nice to them. Okay, Yahweh Shai even called Israel. He said, give not what is holy unto the dogs. And also he called the woman at the well, he called her a dog too. And we know the definition of a female dog. Okay, and Sirach, it says a shameless woman should be counted as a dog. Isn't that offensive? It says a reproach, upbraid, revile of a deserved reproach. Undeserved reproach, to revile, to upbraid. Okay, in one's teeth, but deserved reproach. One last precept and I end it. This is the book of Matthew 3. And I'm going to start at verses 7. It says, "But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his baptism, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who have warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth therefore fruits meet for repentance." Okay, but he called them a generation of vipers. All right, and at that time, that was considered obscene. Look up the word vipers. It goes into offspring of vipers, addressed to be cunning, manly, wicked men. And we got all types of words for wicked ninja. All right. But anyway, with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will you were edified. Until the next lesson. Shalom.